What is up, guys? Marcellus Williams, aka TheSwolefessor, here to educate you on health, fitness, social well-being. And I'm sorry, guys, today's informative video actually is not going to be over my current bench setup. So I did get it recorded, but as I was editing it, I realized that like you guys just barely would have been able to hear me because I was at the Metroflex gym. It was really loud with all the fans going and the music, and it sucks because Michael was helping me record. He was also in the video, and I was comparing and contrasting like our forms, our setups. And I'm still gonna get that video out, but it'll probably just be sometime next week. I'm gonna try to record that again tomorrow when I bench, but I want to make sure I still got an informative video out to you guys this week. So what we're doing today is Thursdays. Thursdays are currently my day ones for my current programming, since I'll be competing on a Thursday at Nationals in October. It's day one of week 4. So this is actually the last week of this current mesocycle. So I wanna make sure that, as always, I take you guys through all the days, on my current mesocycle. So this will be my last week to actually be able to do that for this current mesocycle. So I'm gonna take you through what day one looks like. And as I do, just talk to you about like everything I'm doing and why I'm doing it, so you guys can get like, information as far as that and take some of these things to be able to apply it to yourself. Today's primarily focused on pause squats and pause deadlifts. And then I have a little bit of accessory work. I'll explain what my accessory work is for specifically today, since some of this accessory work is more like, it's not, everything you do as far as accessory work should be kind of specific to your goals, but this is very, very specific to me right now. So gonna be explaining all that and just kind of take you guys through the workout and whatever else I decide to do with this video. But yeah, you're gonna get this video. Today's Thursday, so it should be up by tomorrow, or in this case today. You guys are watching today, which is Friday, and then you'll still get a social well-being related video on Saturday, so that way you get your 2 videos for the week. Staying on top of that now. But anyway, yeah, that's pretty much it. So let's head to the gym. Alright guys, so jumping right into it, going to be explaining to you everything that I'm doing and why, starting off with foam rolling. Now, there's a lot of misconceptions surrounding foam rolling. You have one extreme of people who think that it's completely useless and does nothing for you and there's no point to it. Those people clearly just haven't looked at the research and data on what it's actually useful for. But then you have the opposite extreme of people who feel like it's like this miracle thing that just prevents all injuries or can help you recover fast from injuries, and both of those train of thoughts are incorrect. Essentially, guys, what foam rolling is useful for is due to the temporary relief that it causes in those tight spots, like due to that temporary relief of tension, it can allow us to get into better position when we're actually under load. For example, if your hamstrings are tight, your calf's tight, your lower back is tight, and that's preventing you from maybe hitting depth in the squat. If you're able to cause some temporary relief of tension through foam rolling and then get under load and able to properly hit depth, then that's going to be beneficial to you. Now, even though it's only temporary, it's still useful, because if we're doing it consistently and it's helping us to get in position over time, as our body gets used to being in that better position, then we don't need it quite as much, as kind of quote unquote a diminished return. But the thing is, over time, different parts of your body are going to get tight, and you may just be feeling like, fatigued one day or extra tight in the area. So it's always going to have its place as far as that. Now, as far as doing it outside of that, like at the end of your workout, yeah, it may help you feel good, but it's not really doing much for you, because the entire point of it is to cause that temporary relief so that we can actually put ourselves under load. But I like to start off with it because, based upon what's feeling particularly tight, if anything, it's going to let me know what I need to focus on as far as the rest of my mobility work. Now, on these day ones, to be honest, I usually don't feel all that tight, just because I've had a rest day, and then day 5, which is the last day of the week, is kind of like a lighter technique based day. But even, despite how good or bad I'm feeling, I always like to go into these. So what I'm basically doing here, guys, is once I have the band around my leg and I'm walking it out as far as I can, I'm essentially just hinging at the hips, trying to stick my butt as far back as I can while keeping my back in that neutral position. And this is going to help me not only like get a nice stretch of my hamstring, but it helps me focus on being in the same position I want to be for the deadlift. Then after that, I fold over, I let my back round, just kind of reach around for tight spots. If there are any, then I'll just kind of hold it there. On this particular day, I just wasn't feeling a whole lot of tight spots. I was feeling good to go. And then right here, I go into this external rotation, just really focusing on seeing if I feel any type of crazy like tightness in my hips, which on this particular day I didn't. So I'll hold this for about 15 to 20 seconds depending on how I'm feeling, and then just showing you guys on the other side as well, so you can really see. Boom, focusing on just sticking my butt back, hinging at the hips, and then you're going to see, like I said, once again, I let myself fold over, kind of reach around for tight spots just to make sure everything's good to go. Now, one thing I will say, guys, like I said, and I say this often, mobility work is specific. What you do is going to be based upon kind of like what your specific, weaknesses and balances and tight spots are. But these are pretty general things that you can do. Now, right here, what I'm doing is I'm focusing on keeping my glutes squeezed and just bringing my leg as far out to the side as I can. I actually prefer to do this with a band, but unfortunately, I don't have any like smaller bands that I can like put around my legs that I like to do this with. And the bigger bands that I have just are a little bit too much tension where I can't properly really, you know, move my leg out the way I want. But this still helps me a lot. It helps me as far as like, you know, relieving tension in my hips, as well as just kind of firing off my glutes. And that's the main thing. You don't just want to bring your leg out as far as you can. You want to make sure you keep your glute tight. And then the same thing here when I'm moving my leg back and forth. I'm still trying to keep that glute as tight as possible. Your leg's not going to be able to move as far out or forward this way, but that's the kind of the whole purpose, to really, like I said, fire off the glutes and see, you know, and just help relieve tension as far as the hips. And with doing this, if I'm feeling any more like, you know, tension or strain, then that's when I'll go back and foam roll a little bit more. And then right here, as you guys know, I'm not huge on just doing a whole bunch of static type stretching before I lift, so much as I like doing dynamic work and more band mobility work. But what this is just making sure that everything's feeling nice and good, because in this position, if something's really tight in my hips, my glutes, or even my hamstrings, it tends to let me feel it. So right here, I'm just kind of feeling everything out, making sure that I feel good to go. And so far I am. And the way that I finish that off is I'm going to just kind of get down into a deep squat position with my hips opened up. And then I'm going to, like, by keeping my feet in position, just kind of like twist back and forth, move to the left, move to the right, keep my feet in position, make sure my hips are feeling nice and open, make sure I'm not feeling overly tight. And if I'm good to go, then I'll go right into my working sets for squats. Not my working sets, my warm-up sets for squats. So right here, you guys are going to see that what I'm basically focusing on doing is building up. Like I said, I'm building up to a top set of 3. On this day, the RPE was supposed to be 8.5. Last week was supposed to be RPE 8, but it ended up being more of an RPE 7. I ended up going with 365 pounds, and after reviewing it more, I realized it was more of an RPE 7. Now, as far as pause squats, guys, the main benefit, or the main thing I'm focusing on is, well, there's a couple things. One, I'm really trying to just focus on maintaining tension throughout the entire lift. Once I get into that hole, I want to make sure that I'm keeping my elbows in position, keeping my back tight, and then driving up out of the hole with explosiveness. Now, for me, you guys know that if you've been keeping up with my, you know, workout footage at all, that I have a sticking point that's kind of like a little bit right out of the hole, and this is helping me to, you know, alleviate that and learn how to push through that, but it's also helping me to work on just maintaining tension and positioning as a whole. Now, some of you may be wondering, you know, why I do this over, say, tempo work. What I've liked to do with my own clients personally is that if it's like a new kind of movement pattern where I know they haven't exactly, you know, they're not used to it. Maybe we changed up their squat pattern, maybe we changed up their bench pattern, like widen their grip, change their foot placement, whatever it may be. I like to use tempo work, you know, either like 2 to 3 seconds on the way down with a pause at the bottom, then 2 to 3 seconds on the way up, to help them really get used to that new movement pattern, to get them to really focus on staying in position. But in the case of someone like me, where I pretty much have the positioning down, it's just kind of working on that sticking point, I feel like just a pause is going to be more beneficial than doing tempo work. Plus, keep in mind, I'm in a volume block technically right now, so I'm still trying to do a lot of total workload, and this is still my intensity day, but it's still, as you guys are going to see, kind of volume based as well, because like I said, I have a top set of pause triples, but then it's followed by back down sets 4x4 with just comp squats. Now check this out. You guys are going to notice that my speed in the squat has gotten much better compared to where it was. Once again, speed is all relative, but you guys know that usually I have that little stall that stops me really quickly, but I blast right through it. Right here, it's nowhere near as bad. So the pause squats have definitely been doing what we want them to, as well as the fact that I'm back in flats. After going back and forth like 2 or 3 times, Brandon and I have just both officially decided that I'm just better in flats. My squat feels more natural. It's a lot easier for me to stay in position. I don't feel like I'm having to like force myself into the hole, which is weird since usually people actually feel a lot better in heels, like, you know, as far as like hitting depth, but for me it's almost like I'm having to force it, and a lot of that could have to do with my leverages, certain way that I'm built, but all in all, we just know that I'm better in flats, so that's what we're going to be sticking with. Now here with the pause deadlifts, it's the same thing, guys. On one end, like I said, we're focusing on just really trying to maintain tension, and this is going to create more tension. This is also why these are really pretty useful for something like a volume block or hypertrophy block, because you are going to get a bigger hypertrophic response just due to the fact that the muscles have to work harder to move that weight from a dead stop than what they do if you're just, you know, going through as far as momentum. So with here, you know, of course, we're moving from the dead stop from the bottom, then we're pausing it right about 2-3 inches below the knee, creating even more tension, and then I'm trying to blast through it as fast as I can while just maintaining overall back tightness, make sure my hips don't shoot up, probably pulling the slack out of the bar. So the way that I like to go about these guys, simply put, is I like to come off the ground nice and controlled until I get to the point where I'm pausing, and then I explode through. So on this day, I actually had to work up to an RP8, and it actually ended up being more of an 8.5. So it's ironic. I was supposed to do 8.5 on squats, but the 385 was more like an 8. I was supposed to do an 8 on today, but the 485 ended up being more like an 8.5 on the deadlifts. But all in all, still really happy with how everything went. Just because everything's been feeling good. Like this block, squats and deads have been feeling great. Now, I've been kind of underweight trying to get my weight back up just due to like the stress of life that I've been dealing with. So I just recently got back in the 160s. So my bench is kind of taking a hit, but squats and deads have felt great. And you guys can even see with these back down sets of 430 that I'm just feeling really, really good. And it's crazy to think that, like, you know, just a couple months ago, weight that I was doing for like just normal competition reps, I'm now doing for pause reps at the same, if not lower RPE. Now, in terms of the accessory work for this day, guys, on this day I have single leg hip thrusts, and I absolutely hate these. And Brandon and I both talk about how, you know, hip thrusts are probably one of the most overrated exercises ever, but like most movements, they do have a place and purpose. For me, it's to help with two things. One, just really helping me get better activation in my glutes, as well as just helping to prevent imbalances within the hips. This is going to help me with, you know, from shifting too much in my squat as far as hip shifts. It can help me a little bit as far as not shifting too much to one hip with my deadlifts, and I'm definitely feeling the difference. But the main thing you guys are going to notice is that I'm doing like a nice quick 2 count pause at the very top, and that's just to make sure I'm really feeling it where I'm supposed to. I don't want to feel this in my lower back. I don't want to feel it too much in my hip. I really want to focus on feeling it in my glute by pressing through my heels. So that's what I'm doing with this. And this is just, you know, a nice 3 sets of 8 RP6. So I'm using a nice little weight of just 50 pounds for the dumbbell, and just really focusing on form and technique. And I'm still getting used to these as it's my first time doing them, but I can already tell that they're definitely doing what I want them to do as far as feeling better glute activation, just preventing muscle imbalances, etc. And then of course I have weighted planks, guys. It's just 3 sets of 30 seconds. You know, just gradually adding more weight each week. This is just 90 pounds, and it felt really good, so I'll probably go to 100 pounds next time around. But yeah, that's pretty much it. And with this, guys, this is just helping me to really work and focus on my bracing. But yeah, that's what this day looks like, guys. Hope you all enjoyed the video. If you did, go ahead and comment down below, let me know what you did. If you're not, leave a comment down below, let me know what I can do to get better. Like the video, share, subscribe. Keep it simple, specific, scientific. I'll catch y'all later.